Jordan, going to 3, you got it done anyway, but probably not what you wanted. How much respect do you have for Marceller, his story getting here, and just his performance tonight?
A ton. You know, he had to battle a lot of demons to get to the stage, and he's a formidable opponent. I knew that going into this event, and he proved that even further today. He's a guy that I have tremendous respect for. He was one of the leaders of the next generation until he was derailed by some difficulties that he had in his own personal life, but I think that he's in a good place now. He's going to be a guy that's going to help me prepare for the World Championships in September.
Jordan, through the years, what have you learned about match 3 situations that help you?
No one can beat me in match 3. Match 3, you know, honestly, it comes down to a lot of heart, a lot of faith. Faith in our training, faith in our God and, you know, our Savior, faith in my coaching staff and my training partners. And, you know, regularly on Fridays, we do simulation days. So we have 2 matches. We've been doing a lot of Versa Climber workouts over the last couple of weeks, a lot of Airdyne workouts, really just pushing ourselves to our furthest boundaries, trying to perform at an optimal level. So I knew that I was prepared for a 3rd match. But I also know anytime someone beats me, especially in a series, it is mentally overwhelming for them. It's a mental drain, and they have to re-prepare to try to do it twice in a row. But I also know that in any other sport, you don't really think about the sweep or about the give and take. You think about the winner. And so I thought less about what happened in the last match. I had a quick memory or short memory, and I just went out there and wanted to perform.
2011 to now, totally different Jordan Burroughs, your first world title, different club, moved to a different place, 4 kids, new life, totally different guy. How do you maintain this level? I asked Helen the same question. How do you get better with age?
Faith, consistency, surrounding yourself with great people. I went from a great staff at Nebraska, great training partners there, and fit in like a glove at the RTC. I think the biggest difference now is I have so many obligations outside of the wrestling room. You know, in 2011, I didn't really have much on my plate. I was relatively unknown, and I didn't get everyone's best shot because I was a newcomer to the game. Now I'm very familiar. There's a lot of video on me. Guys would watch me wrestle, even cheered for me, but now they want to knock me off. And so I understand the position that I'm in. It's difficult. It's really hard, but that's why we do it. We do really hard things, and we challenge ourselves, and we want to overcome those things. So we present a challenge, we prep for the challenge, and then with blessings, we overcome the challenge. I was able to do that today. I've got a great team around me. I got so many people to thank, from my trainers and Garrett Hood, Connor Milstein, to my head coach, Brandon Slade, to all my training partners, Dave McFadden, Joey McKenna, Mark Hall, my wife, my family, everyone that supported me throughout this journey. It's not been easy, but it's been a lot of fun. I'm enjoying this ride, and I still got a lot of work to do.
As you get older in age, what are some things that you've had to change physically to kind of stay at this level?
Well, I got a lot of aches and bruises, a lot of bumps, just from a lot of miles on my body. I try to perform well as often as possible, but I've really started to key in on development and different facets of my training. Going from isolated movements to functional movements to lifting less frequently to, you know, just alternative methods to try to stay fresh, but also keep a fun aspect of the sport. You know, it's been nice to be in a new city like Philadelphia, to be close to my family. They've been really helpful with the family dynamic. Having that big network on the East Coast and the tri-state area has been huge. But, you know, I think the biggest thing for me, honestly, is trying to stay as linked to everything as possible. This is my son, Beacon. Beacon just started wrestling about a year ago. I told him today he's going to be on this stage someday. So we're prepping him slowly to be a champion himself, but more so to be a good young man.
Speaking of your kid, how much more do you think you got before you wanted to spend time developing your kid?
I got 2024. 2024 is it for me. I've set that goal for myself. I want another shot at Dake and then another shot at Sidikoff in 2024, and then I'm gonna ride off into the sunset, regardless of performance, regardless of outcome, whether I'm a gold medalist or I don't make the team. 2024 is my last year of competition in the sport of wrestling.
You've had some legendary performance. The ankle was 2013. I don't even know how that was crazy. You broke your ankle, they surgically repaired it. You won a world title a month later, 26 days later, something crazy like that. The knee in 2014, you came back and took a bronze, blew your knee out. How are you able to go through such adversity and continue to win and win and win?
You can ask my coaching staff, my training partners. Honestly, like, I have like a supernatural healing ability. Like, it's not me at all. It's nothing that I do. I just kind of operate in a situation of awareness and trying to take care of my body. But I've been blessed with a tremendous ability to heal, which is no accomplishment of my own. So, I've gone through a lot of things for the last decade of my wrestling career, but fortunately I've always been prepared on the big days. I think part of being a champion is knowing that you've got to be willing to perform and able to perform on the biggest stages, because if you're injured, then don't compete, and if you compete, then you're not injured. So when I show up, regardless of what I'm dealing with at that particular time, I focus on what I'm capable of and what I'm willing to put out there on the mat. So everything that I'm dealing with may not be revealed to the world, but also I understand that some of the things that I've encountered have been just unfortunate luck and probability, but I also have been blessed with a tremendous ability to heal quickly. I'm like a Superman. I got regenerative powers.
Wolverine. What was this one from right here? What was
I think this was like a
feeling. How
Yeah, what
is
was
your
that?
head?
my head. It's everything feels better when you win. I'd have been a lot more sore tomorrow had I gotten beat. So it's 79 is good, man. I feel good. I've been eating good. I had a steak on Wednesday night when we got in, or excuse me, Monday night when we got in. Last night I had dinner. I don't ever have dinner at 74 kilos the night before weigh-ins. The 11:30 weigh-in today was huge because we got to wake up late, sleep in, train before weigh-ins, go out and compete this evening. So I feel good at this weight class. But also I think, this is just part of the game. If you watch a lot of my world championships, world team trials, I'm wrapped up often. So it's just kind of part of the journey. As I shoot a lot, I wrestle with a high pace, and put a lot of velocity behind my shots, and so most oftentimes I end up bleeding.
What opened things up in match 3?
Just continuous encouragement from my staff. Just telling me like, hey, you're capable, you're prepared, you're ready for this, you were built for this, you can do this, you've been here before, you've done this on many occasions. And I think that's ultimately what kind of gave me the reassurance and the peacefulness that I knew that I was ready. I knew that I've been prepared for this. And it's only an 18th minute of wrestling. We train every day for multiple hours a day just for a 6-minute match. And so after each match, it's its own isolated incident. It's exclusive to that 6 minutes and no other part of my day. And so after I lost that second match, I recognized that, shoot, I would much rather be celebrating with my family right now. But my coaching staff continued to pour into me, and they said, listen, you're ready. You can do this. You're capable. And if you're willing, you can go out and show the world why you're one of the toughest guys in the world. So it takes a lot of heart. And Tervel Delagnan was in my corner today. I haven't seen Tervel all year, really since the World Team Trials. And he was one of the guys that I called because I trust him a lot. And so him and Slay are a perfect combination in my corner, and I love having those guys around, and they give me a ton of encouragement and keep me mentally locked in where I need to be to perform at an optimal level.
When did you decide 2024 was going to be it?
Probably a few years ago. I think, I thought 2020 was going to be it, and it didn't finish the way I wanted it to, and I figured, at every point you're like, you reevaluate, you reassess how you feel physically. It's like, okay, my shoulder's a little banged up, I can make it. My knee's a little tweaked, I can handle it. So I think at this point now, I'm like, okay, things are starting to hurt and linger a little longer. Like they're not going away after a couple of days. So, I feel like it's almost that time for me. Plus my kids are getting older. Like, it's hard to be a great man and have great kids because you're so busy pursuing your own goals intently that you forget about really pouring into your family. Because you're so deliberate on achieving the things that you set out to do yourselves. And so I think the great thing for me is I have kids that are a constant reminder to me to settle down, to stop, slow down, and smell the roses. And then also, he's like, Dad, I love what you love because you've pursued it first and you showed me how it was done. Now, really intently show me. And so I think it's a really cool situation that I have at the PRTC. We've got Rich Perry, who has 4 kids, Brandon Slade, who has 4 kids, I have 4 kids. So we have a really special bond where we're all in a very similar season of life. We can bounce ideas off of each other, help each other grow as husbands and as fathers. But I think, 2024, it feels like it's time. I'll be 36 years old. My son will be 10 years old, and he will just be getting into a realm of competition himself. And I've been on the road for a long time. I put a lot of miles on my body, and at this point, I've given all I could give to this sport. And so when I step away, I want it to be for good. I don't want to have any sort of indication or or kind of nudge to come back, or man, I could beat these guys, I can still do this, I can make this team again. I want to be through with it and say, hey, I've poured it out, I've sacrificed everything, I've committed my all to this sport of wrestling, and I can walk away in peace and contentment knowing that.